Hiawatha, and through corporate restructuring through the First Tee organization, they decided to not continue that program here locally. And that was at the time my son was just turning 5 years old, and he was interested in doing junior golf and trying to get into some kind of junior golf program. And from there, it kind of spun into me reaching out to the First Tee, which is based out of St. Augustine's, Florida. And I told them that what if we were able to recreate the program up here, get in some joint ventures with some local programs, some local golf courses, and re-host the First Tee program. And then through their corporate, about 8 months later, through their corporate reorganization, they decided that they didn't want to go down that route. So in gathering my son and a few other of his friends that were interested in doing junior golf, and just kind of how I am personally and wanted to organize something and volunteer and try and create something in the community, I put together some golf lessons for the kids. And then with my connections and some people that I knew, I was able to get a couple golf pros to give some lessons. And then from there, it kind of morphed into 5 kids. Then I was getting calls about, oh, I heard you have a golf program. So there's 10 kids. And then I was getting emails, I was getting phone calls, and I needed to figure out some way to organize this. And what better name was Youth Golf Association? So I ended up just doing one program in the summertime for a few weeks. And from there, it kind of just caught fire. It really served a need locally for the juniors, for the golf industry itself. There just really wasn't that 5, 6, 7-year-old program for golf.
Right. There's all sorts of things. For football, you got pee-wee this, pee-wee that. You got youth baseball. You got t-ball. You know, my 3-year-old grandson was taking basketball at the YMCA, but there aren't the avenues to improve your skills or have a golf mentor are unheard of.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And even when you talk to any one of the golf courses, they support it 110%.
Right.
You know, they want juniors, they want kids. I mean, from a business standpoint, they want people to be able to grow in the industry and then become members and buy golf paraphernalia and golf supplies. But just from a young age, there's just a demand for kids that are interested in that sport, including parents. They want to be able to. A lot of people like to golf, and what do you do with your kids when you go golfing? Usually, golfing takes 4, 5, 6 hours, and a lot of times they're either staying at home or they're staying inside. And the parents go golfing, or one parent can go golf, the other parent stays home. And what a better opportunity to be able to have your kid, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, say, "Oh, I want to go golf." And all 3 of them can go golf.
And I'm not sure, but I would think that golf courses are fairly lenient when you go to pay for a round and you have an extreme youth with you. They may not charge for that.
A lot of times they'll do a reduced rate, but if they're really small, they'll just let them ride in the cart along with them and have a good time and get the experience.
Yeah, it depends on the age.
Right.
13-year-old can probably play as good as golf as I can.
Yeah, they're out there, they're walking, they're paying the full price.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's an exercise program for kids because old people like myself, I wouldn't think about playing golf and walking the course, but I believe the youth have to walk the course.
They definitely do. They actually walk the course all the way up to a college player,
Right.
and even into the pros. I mean, usually they're not taking a cart unless you get to our age. But more than just the exercise, golf really produces certain life qualities. You have to have respect. You have to have golf etiquette, which beyond a lot of other sports require a certain discipline. You know, if you look at it, if we kind of just break it down into a couple different areas, you have the greens, you have the tees, you have your equipment, you have people watching you, you have people hitting the ball. So just from that standpoint, you have to be responsible for your clubs. You have to be responsible for your equipment. You have to be responsible on where you put your clubs. You can't put your bag on a green or on a tee box because you damage it. You have to be responsible and caring for the people that's actually hitting the ball. So you have to be quiet. So now you need to learn how to self-control and being quiet and respecting others. And then you have other people watching you. So you can't hit a bad shot. You can't start swearing, or you can't throw a club. You can't carry on like that. You have to be able to learn how to deal with doing something negative, and because
Right.
other people are watching you. So all of these life lessons from 6, 7 years old, like for the Youth Golf Association, that we'll get into where we're at today and the leagues that we actually hold, really, really portray those life skills.
How many youth participate currently? About.
On average, we're in the mid 50s. In the golf league, it's been all the way up to the low 80s
Wow.
locally. So there's a huge, huge support group here locally.
This is in a lot of golf courses.
This one particularly, we've been at the Jenny Ganslet. We started off at River Run,
Right.
in Kirkwood, because we didn't really know how big it was going to get, and then we went up to Vestal Hills, and then they ended up closing down. So then we went to Traditions at the Glen, and then that became, because we still have such a we call it the mini tour, which is our 6 to 8-year-olds. Traditions is hilly, more hilly for
Strenuous.
the kids.
Right.
So Jenny Ganslet really fit
Nice-
into what our needs
nice,
were.
Smooth course.
Yeah, and it could be extremely difficult too. You know, we have the regular tour, which is 8 to 16-year-olds, and they compete. You know, in a 10-week league is one of the programs, and that course can be very challenging, especially from the whites or from the blues.
You know, they don't play from the whites, do they? Oh, the blues. The blues are the extreme pros, right?
Golds,
Oh, okay.
tips they call them.
Right.
But no, our kids will play from the white. The older kids, the 16, usually 13 is where they stop playing from the reds, and they'll bump up and play from the whites. And every course kind of has their own what age wants to be at a certain tee.
Right.
But the association is, when I first started it off, I kind of reached out to the PGA, the LPGA, Hook a Kid on Golf, Play Golf America. There's all these organizations out there that once I reached out to them, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, can you help me? Can you be an affiliate? They were all for it. They wanted me to really push the game of golf, see what we can do. And the website, the youthgolfassociation.org, has all the affiliates listed on it, which shows all of their programs that they offer throughout the year. We did a golf and girls program one year through the LPGA.
Wow.
I ended up getting 15, 16 girls, families that had daughters that were interested in golf, and they said, well, do you have a girls program? I'm like, no, but I can ask. I'm affiliated with the LPGA, and they sent me this entire package. They said, can you be a site director, and then you could host the program. So we set up an LPGA golf and girls 6-week program in the summer. It just kind of morphed into all these different programs, and now we're offering programs all year round.
Do you promote that through the schools, or give them some advanced literature, or how do you go about that?
The schools do support us because we're a 501c3. We're not-for-profit.
Right.
Or if you were a for-profit, you wouldn't be able to put flyers into the schools. So every year I send a flyer. I'm actually doing it this coming week to administrations of the different school districts, and they'll usually give me a quantity and how many flyers they want and how many packets they want, and then we put them into all the elementary schools.
Wow.
So every kid goes home with a flyer. So some of the schools are very, very receptive to it. Some of the schools are a little bit hesitant just because they don't want to open up the floodgates of having 500 pieces of paper going home with the kids. So,
Right.
so it's kind of hit and miss, but more or less all the schools support it. You know, they support the kids getting outside, getting exercise, you know, not sitting inside playing the video games, you know, all day long in the summertime.
Play virtual golf.
Virtual golf. But
Yeah.
so we're offering programs right now. It's more of an on needed basis because we did have some population decline over the past couple of years. But
Right.
when I was up into the 80s, 90 kids, we were offering programs all year round. So in the wintertime, we were doing simulator leagues for the kids.
Right out by a Dimmick Road, or
We were up at Legends
right.
for a number of years until unfortunately they had the incident up there, and now we're at Tea Time on Route 12, which is just out past Jenny Ganslet. So our current season, it's pretty much our varsity season, is our most popular is the YGA Junior League, and that is organized into a 10-week golf league, and it's on Sundays. We start Masters Weekend, which is usually the second weekend of April. The program is on Sundays. We give an hour lesson, and then the kids go out and play a round of golf. It's set up in teams. So we have two tours. There's a mini tour, as I mentioned, is the 6 to 8 year olds. And then there's the regular tour, which is 8 to 16, 17 year olds. We get sponsors, local sponsors. It's almost like Little League Baseball, where you have a shirt and they have their name on their shirt. We do the same thing with golf. The teams, from the tour up, the teams are set up in a 4-kid team. And what we do is there's an A, B, C, and D level player. Mm-hmm. And those are broken up by age and playing ability. So each team has an A, B, C, and D level player. So every week...
You're talking a 4-person team, correct?
4-person team, correct. And then we have a coach. There'll either be a volunteer that's not a parent or a parent that's a volunteer. And they'll play each other every week. So I put together a schedule. So if there's 8 teams, the 1A will play another A, and it'll be a match play event once a week. So they're actually getting into competition, and we get a lot of kids that are trying out for the golf team, that are on the golf team, that never played golf before in their lives. I have 14-year-olds that are a D level playing against a 10-year-old that's been playing golf for 3 years. So it's really cool dynamics. This kid comes out, he's twice the size, and he's I could crush the ball, I could beat him, and this kid just lights him up because he's been playing.
I play in a league, and there's this guy that's like 75, and he has this little lightweight swing, but his ball is always straight, right down the middle. And
frustrating.
I try to muscle it, and it's going off to the right, it's going off to the left, and it's kind of embarrassing. So I'm trying to hit the ball like an old man. Of course, I am an old man getting there, but slow and steady wins the race.
It's amazing to watch these kids, especially over the years, the ones that really want to produce into making the golf team. We have a lot of kids that have graduated high school that I've seen since they were 6, 7 years old, go all the way up through high school, make the golf team for the first time, graduate high school, make a college golf team. And now I'm getting some phone calls back for kids that are just graduating college saying, hey, can I come back and volunteer? Can I come help out? So over the 11 years now, I've gotten to that point where I'm getting kids that want to pay back.
Carry it forward, yeah.
Right, which is true. It's amazing. I mean, we did something right here locally.
If anybody's interested in participating or getting your child involved, you can do a call into our show. I believe we can manage that. Our number here is 777-2137. If you have any questions for Rob, or if you just want to put on a list and find out more about it or ask questions, he also has youthgolfassociation.org is the website for, and it says on your website that you're the founder director. So I'm just excited that people care enough to give up themselves to really do something for the community in an unselfish way. So thank you for doing that, and I hope it's successful in all that you do. But tell us more.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. On your, it practically has your resume in the front, and I didn't realize, even though I work with you, I didn't realize you were that smart of a guy.
Well, I don't know about smart. No, I grew up
right here.
I grew up in the Johnson City area. Was born in Scranton. Ended up going to college up in Vermont. Soccer was always my main sport all the way through life. I ended up playing on the under-19 national team. Went over to Europe for a few months. Ended up playing down in Atlanta for some men's leagues down there, and I always played soccer. I've been coaching soccer for, I want to say, almost 20 years. That's always been my main sport, and I I really didn't pick up golf until college. I couldn't play lacrosse. That was my other second sport. They didn't want me to play two varsity sports at that time. Now kids play multiple varsity sports.
Oh, yeah. They're in every sport that they can get in.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
So I ended up picking up golf and then playing on as an alternate on the golf team, and kind of just got back to the area, moved back from Vermont down to Atlanta, lived in Atlanta for about 7 years, and then that's when I came back. My first reach out was to the Boys and Girls Club Endicott. They gave me my first soccer goal when I was 6. It was a little mini pug goal. They said, hey, you're really into soccer, and we see you with a soccer ball. Why don't you take it home with you so you can use it at the house? And then my pay it forward was helping organize the youth soccer over at the Boys and Girls Club. And then from there, that's when the golf really started. And I'm just surprised on how awesome it's been. The partners that I have, like with Amy Stoddard, who's my website designer, she saw the opportunity of how great this would be for the community, and she offered her services to create that website for me.
Wow.
Which is
it's a very dynamic website. You have all sorts of information on there and resources.
Yeah, it really is. And it's more, like you said, it's a resource. It gives all the different affiliates. It gives all the different sponsors. It has opportunities there to really learn about the game, kind of the ethics behind the game, the mannerism. So it's really kind of an all-inclusive website that gives the opportunity for something for the kids that want to learn play the sport of golf.
Right. It's a pretty cool program. I love that movie Tin Cup. Where he's just a golf runs a driving range or something. Then he gets playing in and he keeps driving a ball in the lake, and he calls his caddy for another ball, and he does that like 4 times or something. That's my frustration, is if there's water anywhere near me, my ball goes in it.
Well, it's a good way to clean the ball.
Yeah. That helps.
So yeah, we really have a great group of support mechanisms, as I mentioned before. We have all of our pros donate their time to give the lessons. So this league, the YGA Junior League, that starts in April, registrations are open now. The end of the registration deadline is the end of March.
Wow, so people still have time to get in this.
Yeah,
even though you're seeing snow on the ground and threats of snow, don't worry about a thing.
That's right.
Spring is coming.
Spring is coming. We're going to see that green grass soon. And
so there's on your websites resources to sign up, probably, and links and all that.
Yeah. There's a programs tab on the website, and there shows all of the different programs that we offer. And the one coming up in April is the YGA Junior League, it's called.
Right.
That's kind of and then on there has all of our dates. When we have kind of evaluation night, we call it, where kids can come and hit at the simulator at tea time for free. Meet me, talk a little bit more about what the league's about. And then we have an opening day ceremony at Jenny Ganslet on that 16, weather permitting, where we'll introduce all the players, introduce the sponsors, hand out all their shirts and hats, and then we take a big league photo at Jenny, and then that's when it starts.
Wow.
We have like as I mentioned, it's a 10-week league. Each week, every kid gets an hour lesson, and then they go play. And then those hour lessons are all divided up by short game, long game, your drivers. So Jenny's been amazing to work with. They're so receptive to having us out there. So what we do when you show up that day, the kids are broken up there as the teams, as I mentioned. So I'll have 2 or 3 teams on the first tee, hitting their drivers out into the fairway with the golf pro. A set of other teams will go to a different green. Usually it's the number 2 green that we use at Jenny, and they practice all their short game. So they'll practice all their chipping onto the green. And then I have another group that's on the driving range at Jenny that's practicing all their irons. And then we rotate. So we'll do that for 15, 20 minutes, and then we rotate, and then the groups. And so the kids within that hour are touching every one of their clubs, and they do that for 10 times.
Do they have to own their own clubs, or are there loaners, or how do you...
We prefer them owning their own clubs, just because once they get out into the golf, into the actual course, it's harder to borrow clubs.
Right.
I have a number of clubs at the house where people would just call me or email me out of the blue and say, "Hey, I was in my basement. I had a set of golf clubs that's been down there for 40 years. Would you like them?" And they just donate them to me.
Right.
So I do have clubs. I outfitted a few sets last season for some children and some young adults. So I always reach out to me first. If there's a need to not be able to get clubs, then reach out to me and I could try and help you out that way.
Right.
But there's local stores here have nice junior sets that are they're not too expensive for junior sets.
Yeah, if somebody was handy enough, I tour the local thrifty shoppers and Salvation Army often, and there's stacks of golf clubs there that could probably be cut down to refitted pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find a lot of the smaller clubs as well in those opportunities. We try not to cut down clubs too much, just because it really throws off the weight, throws off. Sometimes a 6-year-old using an adult driver head, but even though it's shorter, sometimes gets a little weird for them.
Oh.
But we do whatever we have to get the kids out there and hitting the ball, and the little kids don't need full set of clubs. They don't need golf shoes. They don't need the whole onslaught. So parents are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to try their 7-year-old out there. We can give them a few clubs and have them go out there and try it. It's a great opportunity for them. And then if they catch into it, then you can go and pick up a set of clubs for them. And like I said, they have junior sets that come with the bag, come with the putter.
Yeah, the whole package.
Yep, and they're usually all color orientated. So all of the size, the weight, everything's on the box, and you pick out what color kind of fits your kid. And it's very, very user friendly. You don't need to be a golf pro to for a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old. You can go and just see the color of the box, and they have all the heights right on the box.
Wow, pretty neat.
So it makes it very easy.
Right. So the registrations are starting now, and the snow will be gone by then. And I'm looking forward. My golf league doesn't start until May, so I'm looking forward to that. But and you talked about 6 or 10 week league. That sounds pretty comfortable. I have to go for like 25 weeks or something. It's a bit of a strain toward the end of the year.
Yeah, it's especially over the last couple of years. It's a 10-week league, but it could last 3 months because of our our recent weather.
So, because they're kids, do you play after work or after school or on Saturdays?
The YGA Junior League is only on Sundays.
Oh, I see.
So it starts at 2:30 to 3:30 on Sundays, and then
comfortably
we go
after church.
Right, and it doesn't interfere with Little League baseball. I get a lot of questions in regards to that. Is it going to interfere with Pee Wee football or Little League baseball? So that's why we pick Sundays. And on top of it too, there's not a lot of competition at the golf course.
Right.
Sunday afternoons aren't usually too busy, so they kind of work us in, and they switch nines every other week, kind of like your adult league.
Right. Alternate.
Yeah. So it's really a great fit all around.
And it's 9 holes every time they play, unless they're doing practice sessions.
Right. The tour, the 8 to 16-year-olds will play 9 holes. The mini tour plays 3 holes.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's hurting cats.
Yeah.
In a good way, not in a negative way, but 6-year-old, 7-year-old running around after a ball when they're just out on a golf course.
Open space, you can't get them back.
You can't get them back. So we and they get kind of bored. They get tired in the middle of the summer. It's a lot. A lot of them carry their clubs. So they have these little mini clubs that are maybe 2 foot tall, but it's in a bag and they're carrying them, or they'll have a golf bag carrier. But the older kids, they have to carry their clubs, or they can use a pull cart.
Right.
There's no caddies. There's no parents on a golf cart with their clubs behind them.
little kid clubs can't be too heavy either.
No, they're not too heavy.
Yeah. And they probably only need like 4 of them.
Right, and the three holes are more than enough for them.
Yeah. Yep. I brought my kids to Dobbs or Shenango Bridge, whatever that short one is, one time. 92 degrees out there. We get halfway around. They're laying down on the grass. I can't go on. I can't go on. So we didn't go on.
We have a lot of those.
It was way too. it was uncomfortable for me.
And it's been a learning experience. I started off with the kids playing all 9 holes.
Right.
And then I look and I'm like, this can't. We got to figure this out and fix it. So that we came up with that 3 holes, that happy medium.
Yeah. It sounds like a nice balance. And through your experience, it's continuing to grow and develop. And again, your website is youthgolfassociation.org. This is Rob Warholic talking to us about his youth golf leagues. What's the title of your website? Youth Golf Association,
Yep.
Just like it says.
Just like it says.
That's pretty clever how you did that.
Or the YGA.
Right, YGA. And you also have, people can follow you on Facebook, and I see it says also on YouTube. What do you have on YouTube? Lessons?
A lot of videos. We don't particularly put the lessons on there, but more of the media clips. We're big affiliated with the Dick's Open.
Right.
So a couple years back, we had a couple of the pros at Roberson Museum. We played some Wii golf with some of the junior kids. So that
in the museum or what?
in the Roberson, they set up a little area, and
Right.
we did some Wii golf against the wall with one of the pros. So that's on just movie clips. Opening day ceremonies, someone will videotape it, or a parent will record it on their phone and say, "Hey, I just got a great clip of the ceremony." So a lot of that kind of media spots are on there.
Right. Right. It's outstanding. I wish, I don't recall things like this being available when my kids were young. But more and more things like that are happening now, and I'm just proud to know you and that you're doing this for the community. So keep up the good work. And again, Rob Warholic, it's the Youth Golf Association. Look him up. Get your kids involved. If anybody wants to volunteer or has any kind of interest in golf, I know they're always looking for mentors, somebody to get people involved, to be an example for the kids that they can live up to.
Yeah, and you can always reach me out on my email too, which is listed as on the website also.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us, Rob. This is My Father's Advice, a talk show, and we're going to be winding down now. And thank you for being with us at WHRW 90.5. God bless you and have a good day.
WHRW takes pride in the quality of its community broadcasts. Feedback about our programming may be directed to 607-484-7905 or feedback at whrwfm.org.
How many chickens does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
I don't know.
Yeehaw! WHRW Folk Department. Sometimes we get kind of funny.